Welcome to our first edition of the Longwood Basketball Insider. I'm Greg Prouty, along with the head coach of the Longwood men's basketball team, Mike Gillian. Coach, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Greg. Welcome to 2013. A lot of exciting stuff behind us and a lot of exciting stuff yet to come.
Coach, we're going to take a look at the games you've played to date so far this year. All non-conference games as we get ready to go into Big South play this Saturday afternoon here at home against Coastal Carolina. But non-conference games, 14 of them, 9 games away from Farmville. A lot of tough games early this season, and just take us through the games to this point of the year.
Operative word in that, Greg, non-conference games. We obviously are going into the Big South for the first time. It's very exciting. With that, means you need to fulfill all these scheduling requirements that we've had, return games with Canisius, home games that we had coming back to us in Norfolk State, Dartmouth, and Fairleigh Dickinson. And we had actually many more of those we had to push off to next year. And then some of those high-profile games we played on the road, the Seton Halls, Georgetown, Arkansas, Creighton, VCU, Marshall, and then the 2 neutral site games in Las Vegas. So we squeezed all that into the portion before we got started with conference play for a reason. So when we got to Big South play, we would have nothing but Big South opponents to worry about.
Coach, you mentioned the high-profile games, and probably has to be one of the toughest, if not the hardest, non-league schedule in the league this year for the Big South schools.
Yeah, when you put those games together, you're really not sure. You have a general idea, but not sure what the actual level of those teams is going to be. And when you look at it right now, Creighton, top 10 program, Georgetown, top 20, VCU knocking on the door to the top 25, top 20, and really good. Seton Hall, good team. Marshall will be right at the top of Conference USA when all is said and done. Arkansas, very explosive, but a bit inexperienced. But when they get into SEC play, I'm sure they'll do well. So the level of those high-profile opponents we played is actually very, very high. And we have to hope that those challenges and the obstacles that we face do a lot helping us getting ready for what we're going to face here in January and February.
Coach, a new team this year, graduated 4 starters off of last year's team, including the all-time leading scorer here at Longwood, Antoine Carter. A lot of good young talent on the team this year, but maybe people don't realize how difficult it is for those new guys to come in and learn to play together. And even though the talent's there, it's just guys that haven't played a lot of games yet. And talk about the team this year. Tristan Carey, a junior captain, has played very well so far this year, leading the team in scoring. Michael Kessens has been a great addition, the big guy from Switzerland. And talk about those guys and blending a new team together this year.
Well, there's no teacher like experience. And what this team has, and it's described as youth an awful lot, but we really don't have a lot of experience playing at this level of competition, even though Tristan Carey and David Robinson have played at that level for a while now, 1 year for Tristan and 2 years for David in a more limited role. But the rest of these guys, it's new for them. And it's new for all of them, as you said, playing together and learning the nuances of the game together, learning about each other's game, and learning about what it takes to overcome the adversity and challenges that you face. Those are big obstacles for us. The one thing that I can see and I know is we're improving every day. I think right now we're about really at maybe a 50% of where we're going to be. And we certainly want to play well right now as we move into Big South play, but for this team, the improvement and the continued development will continue for a period of time because there's nobody on the roster, except for Stephen Shockley, who's a senior now, that will be gone at the end of this year. So we'll be able to continue this development as we move forward for the rest of this year on into next year. But obviously we want to accelerate that process so we can play as well as we can right now.
And Coach, address the leadership of a guy like Tristan Carey and also David Robinson, another junior captain for you. And then talk about Michael Kessens too. I mean, he's got to be the biggest surprise in the Big South this year and a pleasant welcome addition to your team.
Yeah, first of all, Tristan and David, when we ended last year, right away, as soon as we got back, I made those 2 guys captains. And I told them a lot of the responsibility for what this team's going to do will fall on their shoulders. It means they have a lot of responsibility. They have responsibility on the court to lead themselves first and lead by example so others that are following will know how we're going to do things. And they have a lot of responsibility off the court to show, especially these inexperienced guys, how to handle themselves, how to take care of themselves during times like this, during the Christmas break, eat right, hydrate yourself properly, learn what it takes to be able to play at your highest capacity on game day. And those guys have done a good job with that responsibility. Not great yet, mind you, but good. So they're improving in what they're doing. Our team's improving. And with a guy like Mike Kessens, yeah, a great surprise, pretty good idea upon his decision to come here that he was going to be good. Then you have to acclimate yourself to a new country, a new environment, a new style of play, much more physical over here in the States than it is in Europe. And he's done a great job with that, and we can expect great things from him as we move toward the end of this year and, again, on into the future. So it's a common theme with the guys as we've gone on this year, too. When it's correct, it's worth repeating. There are exciting days ahead for Longwood basketball. With that being said, also, we need to accelerate those so we can have much more of them sooner and build on those as we move through this year and then on into the future.
Coach, I want you to briefly talk about Jelani Dublin as well. A redshirt sophomore for the team. Didn't play many games last year, broke a hand early, got a medical redshirt season. He started 13 out of 14 games for you this year, and a guy that's playing very well. He's had a couple of double-doubles, averaging almost 10 points a game, 6.5 rebounds a game, and just an example of a guy who's put in the hard work and maybe not as highly touted coming into Longwood 3 years ago, but now he's a key, important player for your team.
Well, he really is, and you said it, Greg. It's hard work. When you put the work in, it guarantees you an opportunity to succeed. If you don't put the work in, that opportunity is never going to present itself. If you put the work in, it might not be what you want, but it gives you a chance. In his case, with Jelani, he's put the work in. He's put the work in the weight room, conditioning, on his game, and it's paying dividends now. He continues to put the work in, and his improvements, again, day to day, he's making strides. The mistakes that he made 2 years ago, he's not making any of those. The mistakes he was making last year, even when he came back from the injury and was practicing, not making very many of those. The mistakes he was making 3 weeks ago, he's not making very many of those. So it's a great example of what hard work can do for a young man or an athlete, a student athlete in general. When they put it in, you get out of it what you put into it. And he's put an awful lot into it, and he's reaping what he sowed right now.
Coach, we mentioned we opened Big South play on Saturday afternoon here in Farmville. 2 o'clock, Willett Hall playing Coastal Carolina University program that's been at the top of the Big South the last 3 years. A head coach in Cliff Ellis, who's been coaching college basketball for 38 years. He's been at some big programs. He's at Coastal Carolina now in his 6th season, doing a very good job there. They were second in the league last year in the regular season. Played in the College Insider postseason tournament last year. A couple of senior guards lead that team, Anthony Raffa, Kiera Greenwood. They got some size inside, some depth on their bench. It's going to be a difficult task on Saturday to open up your Big South Conference play against a team like that.
It's commonly said, especially in coaching, if you want to be the best, you have to beat the best. And when you look at the historical perspective of the Big South over the course of the last 4 years, Coastal Carolina is the benchmark. Now, North Carolina, Asheville has won the league tournament each of the last 2 years and been in the NCAA tournament. But Coastal, as you mentioned, second in the league last year, 3 years ago, regular season champion. I believe 4 years ago, regular season champion. They've been in postseason playing different events. They have fantastic players. Cliff Ellis is a fantastic coach. It's been proven over many, many years and many, many different places that he knows what he's doing and brings a very good team in here to Farmville. And it's a great test for us. Let's find out where we are right now. I do believe, although we're 3-11 right now and would like some of those results to be different, especially the Fairleigh Dickinson game and the Dartmouth game, a couple home games that were closely contested, we didn't come out on top in, that we're improving to the point where we're ready to go. And we're going to find out pretty quickly if we can compete with the best teams in the Big South when Coastal shows up on Saturday.
Coach, tell us what it means to be able to say we're playing a conference schedule from here on out, Big South opener Saturday.
The best way I can answer that right now, Greg, is go back. And when you go back to the question that was asked for 9 years, when are you guys going to get into a league? And each and every year, you and I would sit down and we would craft a new response to that to give to media, to give to recruits and parents or whomever about how much we deserved it, how much we're building to fit in when we get into the league, and we don't ever have to answer that question anymore. So I think at this point in time, it's not so much about how exciting it is because everybody fully understands that. It really is about, let's take the chapter that's behind us, because it is now behind us, and turn the page to a whole new chapter and see what we're capable of doing.
Coach, we're going to move forward. Saturday's opener against Coastal Carolina. Hopefully everybody can come out for the 2 o'clock game. There's a women's game following that at 5 o'clock against Winthrop as well. But we'll be back here next week. We'll take a look at the Coastal Carolina game. Hopefully be talking about our first league victory and look ahead at the games next week as well.
Yeah, we'll be ready to go. I'm looking forward to it.